Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Hill, and this is the Parks and Arts Commission on Monday, October 2 at 4 p.m. We'll go ahead and start today with a call to order to see who's present. Nancy Hill, present. David Heimbaugh is absent. Excused. Laura Frank. Present. Tom Chamberlain.
Present.
John Barr.
Present.
And Noelle Otterson Laparco. Where are you?
Present.
And Bob Steinmiller.
Here.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 3, we have 2 sets of minutes, one for August 7 and one for September 11, when we couldn't meet because we lacked a quorum. Did everyone have a chance to review those minutes? And if so, do we have any corrections or a motion?
I'll motion to approve the August and September meeting minutes as they're submitted.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom and Noelle. Okay, moving on to the citizen comments portion of the meeting. Do we have any citizens either here or online that would like to comment? Yeah, go up to the podium. There's a little button on the microphone. If you could turn that, push on it and it'll turn the microphone on. And then if you can say your name for the record and then whatever you'd like to comment on.
I'm Angela Corey. I'm Liz. And we are citizens here in the community, and I'm not sure where this is on the minutes. I understood it be in the minutes. But we walk past Pavilion Park all the time, with our dogs or whatever, and we roller skate, we bike, and we walk. And so anyways, we were seeing the artists do the basketball court and thought that was just absolutely awesome, and it's beautiful. And then we saw the artists working on the skate park, and they had their little flyer there, and so I looked at that, and I was really surprised to see one of the words that is posed on there, on their artwork as poser. And so I went and asked the artist, I was like, what's the definition of this? Because as a citizen walking by, I was just curious what their interpretation of it was. And my daughter didn't know what the definition was. And the artist said, well, it means that it's someone that thinks that they're really good, but maybe they're not. And as a mom and as a teacher, I was just like, I don't know if we need that blasted on the skate park. And so that was my concern. And so then it started a bunch of discussion at our house. And I asked some other neighbors, and as we left the skate park, they were in discussion about it with the artist, and the artist was like, well, the city said it was okay, and they approved it, so we're just doing it. And so I was like, well, I just wanted to double check that. So that's why we're here.
And I'm kind of new on my scooter, and I'm just learning how to jump. And if someone calls me a poser, I will feel kind of sad, because I'm just trying to learn how.
Well, we definitely all have to learn and start somewhere, right? Well, we so appreciate your comments, and can I go ahead and address this? And just so you'll know, we actually heard about your comments through the mayor's office, and we were really appreciative of your feedback. Laura, do you want me to continue, or do you want to? Okay. And so we took a look, and it's interesting because we looked at the design, city council looked at the design, and we were this is so cool, the graffiti art at the skate park, and it seemed perfectly cool, and apparently we should have gotten out our dictionary, which we did. Anyway, we've had a conversation with the artist, and that's a different word is going to be substituted in for that, so thank you.
Thank you. I was like, the dictionary is so big, I don't know, like wheels or, fun, or I don't know. It seemed like it was kind of a word that could start something that maybe wasn't so hard. So thank you.
Anyway, we do really appreciate the feedback from our community and for both of you coming today. Thank you. Okay, any other citizen comments? All right, seeing none. before we start on the next agenda item, Laura?
Oh, I'd like to make a motion to switch the order of the agenda, between items 5 and 6.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, show it approved. So we'll go straight to item 6 and then come back to item 5. First action item on item 6 is the Trailhead Art and Bench. And I think we have this in for a placeholder. Do we have any updates we're aware of for anybody? So I guess our homework is on this is we need to get over there, and I apologize. I keep saying I'm gonna stop, and then I have like ice cream in the car from Safeway, so you know. But we'll get over there and take a look now that the building is forming up and see if we can possibly do something with the beam from the building and possibly creating a bench and then the art and take a look at that. So we'll just table that discussion for another day, which brings us to the Lions Club Sensory Garden. Wendy Van Orman is with us and we moved you right up.
Thank you. I feel like I'm presenting to Powerhouse. You guys are awesome. So, I believe that Jen went and put some things up on the presentation, but I did go ahead and put a brochure in front of you. So how many are aware of the Arboretum? Okay, so you pretty much know about the Arboretum. You probably already know the history of it. Started in 2007 of trying to get Meadowwood Homeowners Association to donate the land that basically at that time was a drainage ditch. And Nature's Place at Meadowwood was formed. We have done a few things as a Lions Club to partner with the city, and that's why I'm here to present to you. We'd like to do one more presentation and do one more completion, which would be phase 3. So we've got 2.7 acres there, along with an additional 4,000 square feet. And with initial, we went ahead and had a competition with 9 talented WSU students back in 2008. So the winning design was by Michelle Berry, and that's where most of the visions and the planting have taken place. So what we would like to do with the 3rd phase, because we've already done the sensory garden at the beginning. So if you flip the page over, that's the plans from Michelle Berry that's up on the screen. Then we've also got a view of what the sensory garden looks like. Right there. So that phase is already completed, except for the entry, which was supposed to be with signage, which we're still hoping to do. But at the end of the Arboretum itself, so you go starting at Country Vista and you make your way all the way down to the cul-de-sac. In that area to the very bottom left of your brochure is where we would like to go ahead and put 3, thank you. We'd like to go ahead and put 3 benches, 3 round tables or 3 square tables there, either underneath a gazebo. And we would like the partnership of the city to be able to do that. We have raised with the Lions Club bed races for the past, 3 years or so, $6,300. And we also have enough money to, besides that, to go ahead and take the 3 tables to put in there. We also had a great idea to bring the community into it and actually get them to put their names on pavers. So we bring a little bit more money into it to help out with the Arboretum. But total donation at this time would be $10,000.
You guys have any questions for me? I'm totally out of this. I haven't done a presentation for I don't know how long.
So aside from the pavers, I mean, you have the $10,000 goal met now,
We do.
and then the pavers would just be additional to.
Pavers would be additional to bring money in. So, so yes, we've already got the 10,000 set. I did have the item that you're seeing there is from Tracy Shaw. He's from Haas Landscaping, which gave the renditions. What he is showing there is a gazebo that's approximately 20 feet. With that being said, the price on that, which I've got right here. He's estimating the price for a large gazebo, if that's what's decided to go forward, would be anywhere from between $30,000 to $40,000. If we decided to forego a large gazebo and just have picnic areas, if we did the pavers themselves, the pavers would be $6,000 to $10,000. If we did a picnic area that's covered with the 3 different up on the upper left-hand side, if we did a covered tables, they would be $8,000 to $10,000 each. So I'm trying to get the funds and trying to keep it low where we need to. But the biggest thing on the plan was restrooms. If we can get the city to go ahead and put in restrooms, people use that pathway all the time. And you're saying, oh yeah, that would be wonderful to have a place to go ahead and have a picnic and a place to utilize, because there's really no place along the trail system other than our park systems for the bathrooms.
Do you have an estimate on the cost of the restroom?
The restrooms I don't have, but I know that the city does. They pretty much have what it's gonna take to do that, and I'm not sure if, yeah, the last time we did a restroom like that was over at Rocky Hill. And then you did also, Town Square.
Yeah, I don't know what the cost is,
Yeah,
it would definitely need to be budgeted and moved through council. It is on the unfunded, which we'll talk about later, the city council's unfunded project list. But there's no dollar amount associated with that. So the council would have to agree to that and approve, adding that as a CFP item,
right.
in order to move forward.
So what you have right now from the Lions Club, and we're happily able to go ahead and donate that. And that would be 3 tables that we've got an anonymous donor for. And then we have the 6,300 to go ahead and donate to the city. So what the city chooses to go ahead and partner with us, terrific, but we've got 3 picnic tables coming your way. And the other thing is we are also collecting plastic, stretchable time. Trex makes benches, and we're planning on having 2 more benches added to the arboretum as well at a later time. You need to collect 500 pounds of plastic before you can do it. And we're already got one. We're on our way to the second one.
Wow.
So thank you so much for listening. And I've also got in front of you, if you have anybody that wants to do a dead race, we've got it going on October 28th over at Meadowwood Technologies campus, along with Liberty Launch Academy. So it should be a lot of fun. Come watch.
Well, thanks for the presentation. So the 6,300 is not earmarked for anything special. It's just what you've raised towards.
That's what we've raised for the Arboretum. And we're hoping that either the city decides to go forward with a gazebo. If not, we've got that ready to go for the pavers, at least that I know we can afford. We can't afford the gazebo, that 15 or 20 foot. And after talking this weekend to those that were working the trail system, they were a little concerned about having a gazebo down there. And having homeless live underneath it. So something I hadn't really thought about.
Right. Right. Okay, well, it gave us something to think about for sure. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah, and I guess I'll check with Jen to see when we can make that donation.
Do we have a way of taking a donation and then holding it, or would it be better to wait until we have an identified project?
That's a great question. You know, I can take the donation form, anytime and get it through council. I think depending on the dollar amount, that may or may not have to go through council for approval. So we can at least get through that process. I mean, this has the potential to be a big project, and where do you begin? That's the question I would have, is where do you begin? So I don't know if you have thoughts on
I
that.
do. To begin with, I put in 3 picnic tables on either pavers. And locate them throughout not all in one area, but I would probably put them in 3 different areas within the arboretum. So families can come and enjoy. And doesn't take much more than that, but that would be fully paid for.
So it would be your discussion.
Discussion at hand. Thank you very much for hearing me out.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Appreciate you coming. Well, we can add that maybe next meeting or sometime before the end of the year for an item for discussion.
Okay.
I think a bunch of us now want to go down and walk on the trail and get a better feel for it. Thank you. All right, now we're looking at the Inland Chess Recreation Program proposal. Is there a presenter?
He was here at the last meeting, and I am not seeing him at this meeting online, and he's not here in person. I can speak on, did you hear him? I can speak on behalf of him. He's had a contract with the city in the past. That was prior to recreation agreements going through the Parks and Arts Commission. He is proposing to renew that contract or that agreement with the city in the same fashion as the pickleball and the Satori, and the fitness classes. The same agreement, very similar, just accommodating chess instead. He's wanting to start, I believe, October 17th, which we will, if I can get the agreement on the council agenda for October 17th. Yeah, then it will be coming in right by the nick of time for him to start his first class. He's wanting to hold his classes between the library and also have chess tournaments in our parks, in our park shelters, which would be something we definitely have never had before. The agreement would allow him to reserve the shelter facilities without having to pay the fees. So that's the whole point of having the agreement, is in turn, they pay the city 20% of the registrations. Then they don't have to make a fee payment for reservation. They get priority usage, just like all the other agreements. So that, I think, was kind of that in a nutshell for what he was gonna present. There is a packet in your larger packet that he dropped off some information on, I have it. Yeah, yes. Of what it looks like. Again, my assumption would be in the colder winter months, he'd be in the library, and in the nicer, warmer weather, he would probably end up utilizing the parks. So, yeah, if gosh, I wish he was here. If the commission wants to vote to move it forward to council, just like we did with the other recreation agreements, that would be the next step. If they're in agreement of having me put the agreement forward for council approval.
I'm looking at the draft schedule on the last page of the packet here. Let me hand you that. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but I didn't see where the Liberty Lake Parks would be?
He hasn't gotten that far yet.
Okay,
We literally had just, prior to the last meeting, just had that conversation. He didn't realize that was even an option with the recreation agreement. And so I think he just simply hasn't put that together yet.
do you have any, idea about how many times he would want to do that?
No, he didn't elaborate on that, but I don't know that it would be very often. If it was, it would be my assumption that it would be either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly situation. So I don't see it being heavily utilized.
And it would still be first come, first serve on reserving. If somebody else reserved the shelter before he put in his
Correct.
date, they would
Yes.
have priority.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking for us to, send this on to council with our blessing?
Correct.
Okay.
Are there any concerns on the shelter usage? Is it weekdays, weekends?
No, it's probably weekdays or could potentially maybe be an after-school situation while the weather is decent. I don't have any issues. What's that?
Would that interfere with Skyhawks or the other camps and activities?
Well, and so that's a great question because we're getting to the point where those shelters are reserving heavily and nonstop. And there will become a point when we're almost gonna have to be like baseball field usage and have an allocation meeting for all these people and say, okay, either you get me the dates first, it's first come, first serve, or we all sit down in October like we do with baseball and you all hash out what you want your schedules to be. We aren't quite there yet, but it's gonna get close. The recreation folks though are usually pretty good about getting us their schedules early, because we don't take reservations until January 1 or first business day of January. And they all know to get us their dates so that we can get them in, because if they miss that window and Tate goes and schedules a park reservation, then they, you know, we don't knock the park reservation off the list for them. But they do get first dibs, so we ask for that list early on so we can get them programmed into the calendar.
Usually, I noticed an example of happened with Satori was that she was kind of open and was like, well, you tell me what works best based on how busy you're already at this location, So if you've got some flexibility, we definitely have some space, but like pavilion is.
That would be my only
Definitely
concern, is how many days and how that taxes the current.
Definitely getting a lot fuller with not only recreation, but sports camps and reservations have been at like an all-time high this year.
I love the idea of having a non-sport in the
Mhm.
park. It's
I
kind of
love the
cool.
idea.
Yeah.
That was my only concern, was the shelter
We
reservation.
might need more shelters.
I love it too. I feel like we're even more like Mayberry, having a chess in the park. I'm sorry if I missed it, but I'm not finding what his potential registration fees might be.
Oh,
It's on the first page.
yeah, tax registration of $90, which that includes a lot of stuff. So I don't know what the park fees would be. That might be something separate.
Okay.
It's
And
on-
then we were gonna waive the facility registration fee for 20% of everyone's sign up fee, registration fee.
Correct, that's what the state.
Okay.
But I don't think that $90 is what he's talking about doing in the parks, because that's an 8-week tuition, so I don't think he's listed that in his materials.
The part was for tournaments only, was that the idea?
I can't speak to that, that was my understanding from our brief conversation, but.
Are we able to approve it without all those details, saying that in general, we support the
Yeah.
idea and the concept?
And then he and I can work out the details, yeah, I mean, if the commission is comfortable with that, absolutely. I know, like I said, he's wanting to start his first class that same week as the council meeting, so he's on a bit of a time crunch, and he did come to the last meeting ready to speak. We had to cancel and send him away, so, you know, it would be nice to get his agreement going and approved by council at least.
Yeah, that's what the question is,
Yeah.
if you could do it contingent on
Mhm.
what that scheduling looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd be happy to follow up at the next meeting, November, on how this is all panning out.
Well, what's the pleasure? Do we need a motion? Do you wanna make a motion to, move the concept forward to council for approval and understanding that, it's as available for the reservation?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the inland chest recreation program proposal for council approval. With ironing out some additional details on reservations.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the motion unanimously approved. All right, moving on to the next item, winter decor south of I-90. And I know this came up in a conversation and some feedback from citizens with Winter Glow being on the north side of I-90. And Tom, you had mentioned something, that there was a discussion in Winter Glow. We just didn't want this to drop off our radar.
Well, our plan was to light up the, roundabouts that we can that are owned by the city of Liberty Lake, and Jennifer has told me there's 4 of them. So we plan on lighting them up.
So that's still in the Winter Glow plan?
Yes,
The glow on this side?
yes. So it'll be the one north of, what's the new road? Whatever.
Kramer,
Parkway.
Yeah, Kramer Parkway. Yeah, that one.
I don't, just so you know, I don't know that there's power out there quite yet. We need to follow up because they haven't done anything with that roundabout, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, so that's still in
We'll
that's
see.
on the north side still.
Solar lights,
Yeah, and then there's 3 others, Moulton being one of them, and 2 others.
Multer Mission and Harvest Parkway and Mission.
So the ones on this side of the freeway would be the Moulter one, and
That's the only one.
that's the only one.
Mission Multer. And Harvard is incredibly difficult with washdowns, so we'll just put white, we just stick to white lights on that one.
More than the one by Selkirk.
That's Harvest Parkway and Mission. And then Kramer and Mission. Seems like I'm missing one. Maybe the 4th one is Harvard,
And there
Harvest.
won't be flashing lights
Harvard.
for distraction.
Mhm.
It'll be just lights are on.
Did we talk about at one point about the median strips at the main intersection of where you come off the freeway there on Appleway and?
I thought we talked about, I was gonna ask if the city has plans to do the trees and any of the medians.
The only, we're bound by snow. And so when we go and light up trees every winter, it's the last ditch. Okay, we're just gonna light something. We are not professional Christmas decor or holiday decor. And oftentimes our crews get caught up by snow and then something is, half done. And so it's a struggle for us to commit to lighting them every year. We do what we can when as we have time. But normally we light it's the first handful of trees from the Meadowood monuments right here to City Hall, and that's it. And in past years, long ago, we would do the entire tree, but the trees were much smaller back then. So we just wrap the trunks now, and we have gotten quite a bit of pushback on that. So it makes it frustrating a little bit to want to do anything,
Well, that's,
but I mean,
that's better than nothing.
well, that's what we think.
Yeah.
And the trees were getting so big that every time we'd have a windstorm, they would start coming undone and dangling in the road, and then they're slamming into cars, and we didn't want that. So we just did the trunks. I know the mayor has had a suggestion, or I heard it from somebody about people adopting a tree and doing, family can pick a tree. The question is, how much consistency is want?
And then.
And everybody does it differently. We can't have volunteers on ladders technically.
Right.
So
Is there no way to maybe divvy up between city staff? Maybe sending some of them to each individual area that we wanted to decorate, and volunteers can show up to whichever one they live nearest to and stay off ladders. And then some central person could sort of be directing the idea, the goal, the lighting.
We get so high up on those trees, it's so large right now, so.
And then
so
you're-
going up the trunk, now that's
Yeah.
uniform. That extension is moving around. But still, you're only going up so
Yeah,
high.
yeah. And then you're talking, you know, how much staff time is that gonna take and divvying up staff time, and if we have snow, then my crew is hands off, we can't commit to that.
Yeah, and we might have volunteers show up and your guys are.
And I know for Winterville, talking with Winterville, trying to find volunteers has been a challenge the last couple of years, just for Winterville, and that's a full-on dedicated
We're working on it.
situation, yeah, right. So, I don't know what the solution is, but
Well, it's a start doing the roundabouts.
Yes, it is.
I know when I worked for Greenstone, I had the privilege to be the one responsible for putting the holiday lights up at the monuments here at Coeur d'Alene Place and at Montrose, and so they had characters similar to what you do out at, Winterglow, life-size characters, and I would go through the lights every fall and have people put them up, and I'd go plug them all in, and that was kind of cool. It would be like an echo of what you're doing at Winterglow, and we do have power to the monuments.
Yeah.
Just a thought. We did see vandalism, however, in those areas.
I wonder if there's anything that we could do at the corner of where Trailhead, the new building is there, where the reader board is. If there is anything, because that's fairly visible on this side to make the south side folks happy.
Yeah, and we have power at we'd have to see what power, but we have power at the
Like
message
some
board.
snowman and some,
Yeah.
I know there's not big trees or anything,
Yeah.
but maybe some figures. Or something, if you had some extra ones.
Depends if we have extras, but right now I'm concentrating on lighting up the roundabouts
Right.
and hopefully make it better each year.
Yeah, well, it's a good
We'll
start.
continue to add, so
Okay,
we'll just see the reaction and then I wouldn't even mind lighting up, the islands, you know, between Safeway and Hills.
and when does that all start?
October 14th is when the board is gonna start arranging things. And then I think on the grand opening, I think is the 19th,
The 19th, okay,
and it'll be for 45 days.
wow,
Yeah. It's big. It'll be
good for you
bigger-
guys.
It'll be bigger this year,
Well,
and better,
it's always impressive, so thank you.
can't beat the price.
All right. Moving on to our next agenda item, the proposed recreation program fee schedule, which I believe we have a copy of. Jen?
Yes, and this is a carryover from two meetings ago. And so we need to get this approved or not, either way it goes, today, because it's got to go into the budget by tomorrow with staff's final draft. And it's the one that has the red markings on it, the spreadsheet.
And the only thing that was changed was the trailhead one.
Yes, and those are temporary fees until, the restaurant vendor comes in and takes over. So we're just following suit with what they would have done. I can't speak more to it, but I can bring Kyle, the finance director, in. He did send me a note saying, fees for the flex space were based solely on cost recovery. One of council's primary objectives of the flex space was to provide free or low-cost meeting space. And then he says when restaurant opens next spring, they will be responsible for managing and scheduling that space. So,
Will this fee schedule take effect immediately then?
not until 24. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes, Dave, I think if I recall, he's gonna have this on an agenda sooner than later. Potentially maybe even tomorrow, I don't know, for the update on this, to get us through the end of this year. And we don't know yet when the restaurant is scheduled to begin, but from what I'm hearing, it's not January 1st.
And I know this says 2023, are these the 2024 prices on
Correct.
everything? And then the only thing that would change would be when the restaurant opened, then
It would go to whatever their fee structure is.
because they will manage that.
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, it looks like we are gonna need a motion on this.
I'll move to approve the 2023-24 recreation program fee schedule as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and approved, to move forward with this fee schedule. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
You did that.
Six, so we've got to get finished in new business, starting with the.
Yeah, so I just wanted to provide an update that they invited me to speak with their third and fourth graders, their fifth and sixth graders, and their ninth graders, a few weeks ago. And on the different levels of the age groups, describe to them some potential projects and collaboration you can have within the city of Liberty Lake, particularly within parks. And I've had several meetings with several of the teachers at Liberty Lodge County, very ambitious to make impacts, locally in the community. This is such a different form of teaching and training than I've ever seen before. It's very interesting. So what they had asked me to do is provide a list, and this was just a brainstorm of things that I know I have across the years of past projects, past Eagle Scout projects, past volunteer group projects, you name it. And I dumped it all onto this list for you all to see where we can build on this list if you have other ideas. It's just a sampling. And what I did is I sent it to them to give the kids topics of discussion. So the older kids, they were using examples of what can we do to problem solve some challenges in our parks. And so I used graffiti and vandalism as one of the potential issues that we are challenged with on a regular basis. With the little kids, they were talking more along the lines of pollinators and how can we help pollinators? What are pollinators? How do they help the world? How do they help the earth? Do we help them in our parks? And so I kind of talked with them on what pollinators are, how they help, how can the kids take that and do something with it. We have a pollinator garden behind the shelter. So I shared that as the example. We have one high school plant grader that's outstanding, and his proposal for a solution or an issue was feeding the community for about like food pantries, like little library food pantries. Can we grow something in our park to help those that have food challenges? It's just, we have so much space in these parks and that could be utilized. And we have the community gardens, which is a great start, but those are personal, private, rentals for their families and those types of communities function, providing them to the community. So anyway, it was really great to talk with these kids and kind of get them thinking about the real time, this day challenges and issues and the potential projects that they can get involved in. It was nice to see the excitement, and I think that at some point they may be presenting some ideas to you all, depending on some potential projects in the future. And then I don't know if you want to talk about your experience with them. This last week, I was invited as the chair of the Parks and Arts to listen to a presentation of the Liberty Lake and some graders in fifth and sixth graders, and I asked as kids kind of in those age groups, and we went and they were all very engaged and very creative. Super excited. And I know that they were very appreciative of asking them involved in kids to be so we're hoping within the city was part of your conversation that common improvement is smart boards.
They have developed a number of parks. They presented as part of their research and marketing for the third and fourth grades. Each group had a different impairment that they were evaluating parks to see, but specifically for them, really hard whether it was common impairment, if not recommended. So they're really impressive. It's really fun to be invited in the park.
I let them know that we're looking at one meeting in 2025, and how can we incorporate their opinions or incorporate them into that project itself? And so that's we talked a lot about inclusive play equipment, and they just went crazy with how the solutions are thinking. There were some very interesting solutions, but I think it would be neat if there was some ways to group those kids in for us, with the planning part of the project and the design, so we could have a solution, especially for 100 years. That's not the last 20 years. No, all grown down in. So yes.
Important feature in many of the. They had each made like a flat board and they made slides and water parks and trees and benches and ice cream stands. Even restrooms, I know we pretty thoughtful and it's great idea. So I had to move ahead. I think what we do. First step on starting parks. We definitely figured it. Then the older group is pollinators, either bees, birds, or butterflies. Bees. And just made me think when I was gonna present a sensory part about how, they perceive. So I know at Manitou they have how can we look at these various aspects of all faces. I think we have a lot of when it gets closer in time, get some good connections with the instructors and maybe some of these same kids will still get some talk a little bit. It's really it's a great spot by day. So busy. City Hall. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving on, the Town update and the possible dedication time. Well, see, Jen has put in our packets, some pictures of the art, which just turned out amazing. And the gentleman, what's his name? Did the brain. I mean, that was so cool. I don't know if you can see it from space, but you can see it from and it's very impressive, colorful piece of work. I reached out to Town USA again about the basketball courts. And they went out, I believe, for maybe contractors to go look at it. It would be very difficult to pull out the existing posts. It's spinning the ground and there's possible damage to the wall, and they're in good shape. So they talked about just putting the new backwards on those, which would be the backwards that we used to see in a nicer square, and then the plexiglass, or the limits, probably. See that they believe it's possible to respond to the existing. So, I don't know. So they're trying to get estimates of what before just the back. They already have these developers, so we have 4 guys. County USA has plans to pay for 2. That's what they thought they would do. If we're just going to the actual money, and go to. And so. Enough money left in the budget to cover the cost. Finally, observation, I was looking at the things, right now the metal poles are painted color, and I think they would need to be painted white. Those installed, and it's really good awesome. So we're kind of, it's a wait and see right now, and it'd be nice to come off on a meditation. So we want to, especially if we can get this year with that. So what is it that we think? Understand. Want to talk about the nice and very importantly before the email or something. If we pull out this picture here, you can see what we're talking about. And we had talked about maybe something for consideration if we wanted her to extend to like she if it didn't actually get it, she or writing something we were interested in. Right now, it just looks like there's a little bit more. It's low is the fall for the Christmas. And it comes. Did she indicate what the cost of this? Because really, unless you would have pointed out. I see on this picture, I told you. Important one is going out with blue. It's like, it looks like it's fire. Maybe if you do that and then do some more next discussion, if you have a chance to go down the line. It's really, as you know, you'll see. Just trying to figure out if they can afford one versus 2 minutes. Any questions? On to the state park.
I do, however, just want to also come from the artist perspective as well. He's community member. And he's never to do something with me anytime. I'm not going to welcome any of our artists or to try to fix. And from his perspective, there's no many great conversation I've had from the perspective who there is nearly someone that's trying to impress. Since recognizing that thing that all of us many people and like you said, we're certainly going to get someone who calls it out. He has agreed to change the word to try it instead, which is also something that's been culture. But the whole purpose of this mural meeting is one to hopefully cut down some of the graffiti we have in our place with some non-stop issue. But we're also part of the system within our community. And like I said, he lives in the community, military, child, likes from this area. Probably really as well, so his intent is to use we thank you for bringing that concern. So this morning we could be that work was purpose and not his post program in my meant to have. So the is to work. He's had numerous challenges and setbacks with weather and he didn't want to shift all the parks, so he's barricading each feature as he uses it. As I drove by today, the barricades have been moved and so this is causing him to have to repaint and redo those surfaces. I think it's something we need to be focusing on in terms of not only this delay, but it's also an advance. He hasn't indicated that he's going to pay us for that, but I don't know the reason that he thinks it's getting ready. We'll look at that. The bigger challenge is he's doing some good anti-graffiti coding, but it does take time to use. He's like, I don't know how to get people to stay on for 20 days. So shouldn't be, I mean, he's basically something about the ones I find for possible, recognizing that the 20 days is definitely a challenge. But as a group, I think that we need to recognize that is causing it to run from the condition. Like I said, I could see that we just put those rankings up today. So that it's been a challenge that we have. And then the other thing that I'd like to request if we could do that is maybe highlighting on social media, like they did the basketball court, and he's had some of our community coming up and wanting to know why he's there, what he's doing, if he's authorized to be there. So I'd like to really celebrate and highlight the work and how our basketball members, how I think the positive experiences using our resources. For me, as a commissioner who's excited about this project, to hear that he's been receiving that same welcome, which we have on some of it. So I don't know if we can have some more people in the community that is going on. And also this one, as well. Community as a city approved and funded project and it is what it is, and we see the best we can to work with now, but I think if we could have it more, we would do that. Savers and commissioning was to celebrate the same culture and also the benefit of with the meetings of our care and food stand.
So is there one
Yeah, I mean, they built their own. We have a lot of PD, situations that have some serious challenges to the business, and we know that contracts, franchise, you know. I think they're hesitant to, like, if that's what they need to do, that's what they, yes. It should be enough. No, I know you're thinking. Exactly, you could say that. And you're in, you know, you could even so people asking if he's, you can do this, if he's supposed to be there. So again, it's disheartening and, you know, we are trying to, we should build a reputation of being a good partner to this community, so we just really to be able to do whatever we can to be the partner and to, you know, kind of suffering his work and hard. The homeless really could fall and like really helping. So it's going to be in the PR. Thank you. Yes. I mean, technically, it's not. Awesome. Okay. All right, well, fingers crossed that it's going to, this is something. Moving on to our next agenda item, the story walk update. Dedications going on.
And then this sidewalk,
it'll be on the flag. And then we're just gonna go around.
It's not interesting in someone's fault. Yeah. Yeah, I think that. Yeah. It's on the inside probably. Some question and concern during the process, about the height, and for some reason, the height is not the same as Rockingham. So David Hembaugh was able to run out there, right, in the middle of it real quick, and he and my staff really did a shoulder height. One's particularly, so, and I think if we're all, now we're just gonna leave it as two across around them, and actually just leave it. And make those, nice and pretty characters. For now, I would just do anything fancy or expensive, just maintain it with the molars and the looks. Cause it looks pretty nice, it's just nice. And if you're going, put some soil, and put some soil, nice soil around it to kind of clean it up. And you have one closer to some walking. Yeah, it's an option, yeah. Just cost and telling the contractor to do it. That's what we can see at this point. Because they know. Okay, well, it's exciting, and I know I've seen all of it. On that online, people, it's not. Okay, next agenda, item, community engagement and online relations. So I had to go remind myself to ask David Gator what this is for, and in your pockets, there are two pieces of paper with the surveys on them, which can be found on the city website. On the very front page at the top, two opportunities to take surveys, affecting and having to do with CFP and project list for city council to consider and do. So it's just one more way to have voices heard, and the Parks and Arts Commission also has an unfunded list on their strategic plan, and ties in very closely with what the city council's unfunded project list is. So just if you have the time to take to fill in these surveys, it's one more voice that's heard that will be considered at the council level for projects to move forward and election and discussion. Oh, okay. Oh, excellent. The city's done an excellent job. It's easy to get in there. Just, all right, moving on to item 7, the master staff report. This is our time. Thanks for sure, Rocky is still slated and still moving forward. It's just a very slow process. I'm starting to be concerned whether they can do it this fall or not. We're prepared to carry the funding over in case they can't get it installed this fall and it has to move to spring and then get invoiced in the spring, so they'll take care of it. CFP and budgets. Okay, so this is a little bit new and different than what I've presented to you in the past. I gave you two large 11x14s and one 8.5 by 11 projects. These are the draft version of what the council consideration in it's late October council meeting. Mayor will typically present in the budget. This is to give you, Parks and Arts Commission, an opportunity to look and see what projects are slated in the 6-year plan. So that we don't have items like parking and shade structure to talk about. That's where this came from. She's originated and sat on this park and public facilities CFP. It's not on for years until it ended up. So everything that's on here are regarding our facilities. In different way, shape, or form that is of a capital purchase and a capital level. It can be anywhere from a maintenance item, like replacing a roof. It can be on here, so that will be your strategic plan, this 3-year plan that you have defined. So this for the numbers you'll see on it's the future 2025. If you look at the building park improvements, that is inclusive of the renovation of the playground. So while this list doesn't give you a full detail of what these projects entail, it does give you a high level overview, particularly focusing on 2024. So just review it. If you have questions about it, let me know. It's very simplistic to read. Start looking at everything. You're not going to know the details of the second page, the green one, is more of our streets functions, which I thought was important. Is like street lights and roundabouts, so you can kind of see on there what the plans would be in the next few years as $10. And then they have that unfunded projects list, very similar to the project list, and it was through discussion process. And how that you'll see there is a restroom facility, Arboretum, TBD. It is currently unfunded as a project, but we have to council's pleasure whether to discuss the opportunity. Any questions about that?
This is great. I need some time to digest.
Yeah. Those set up against November 4th, opening November 18th. Graffiti barrels, we did one back. I can't recall. I think I mentioned it last meeting. Rolf has the second one still. Gal and Alice, she's the bridge line. She also happens to be, if you jump to the bottom, a student who applied for the commission position. So we have community set up with Alice next week, between next week and this. We also have posted the adjunct commissioner positions again, so it's simply because the last meeting, we didn't have those adjunct positions from us to and then a reminder to those, and also have an email for those whose terms are expiring. Interested in process commission. Get into the council. All the classes are wrapping up. As we discussed, meeting in some fashion. So that is all I have. Are there any questions?
And the adjunct commissioner.
Yes. It's on the city website and they get posted on social media. I don't know to be bites on it, but please share that out if you can.
And then we can send on to the council.
Yes, thank you.
And reporting on our activities to the council. What we're going to do is like we saw.
And just so you know, she's That's why I should.
Well, that's what.
Yeah.
Any questions? The next meeting is going to be. I was. Maybe able to. You're adjourned. Thank you.